Welcome to Learning Arabic Made Easy. أهلا وسهلا. In this lesson, I will teach you the forms of the Arabic alphabet in their initial, medial, and final forms. A quick overview of the Arabic letters. There are 29 letters in the Arabic alphabet. Each letter has a name and a sound. Arabic is written and read from right to left. Many letters look similar, but they are different. Most letters are distinguished from one another by dots above or below their central part, as you see with the letters ba, ta, and tha. Arabic letters change shape depending on their placement in a word. Each letter has forms that look sometimes similar to each other. The isolated form is how a letter is written when by itself. The initial form is how the letter appears when at the start of a word. The middle form is how the letter appears with letters on both sides of it. The end form is how the letter appears when at the end of a word. Of course, there are unfriendly letters create exceptions to the rule. These letters are alif, dal, dhal, zai, and wow. The 6 Arabic letters that don't join up with the letter following them, instead, they form a break in the middle of a word. Alif. Remember, alif is one of the unfriendly letters that doesn't connect with the next letter. The alif doesn't have an initial form. We don't have any word in Arabic begins with alif. Therefore, there is no initial form. Word bab shows you the medial form of the alif. And in the final form connected, there are 2 shapes for the alif in the final form connected. There is the long alif, and word baba shows you the final form connected of the long alif. And there is the broken alif, and word layla shows you the final form connected of the broken alif. The final form isolated, there are 2 shapes for the alif in the final form isolated. Word camera shows you the final form isolated of the long alif, and word halwa shows you the final form isolated of the broken alif. Ba. Word bait shows the initial form of the ba. Word laban shows the medial form of the ba. Mal'ab shows the final form connected of the ba. And word koob shows the final form isolated of the ba. Word teen shows the initial form of the ta. Word maktab shows the medial form of the ta. Word bint shows the final form connected of the ta. And word toot shows the final form isolated of the ta and also the initial form of the ta. There is an additional form was created and derived from the letter ta, and this form called ta marbuta, and it's the feminine mark in Arabic. If a word ends in a ta marbuta, then it's most likely feminine. There are 2 shapes of the ta marbuta. There is the final form connected, and there is the final form isolated. It's also very important to remember that ta marbuta only appears at the end. Word حقيبة shows the final form connected of the ta marbuta. Word كرة shows the final form isolated of the ta marbuta. The letter ثاء. Word ثوب shows the initial form of the ثاء. Word مثلج shows the medial form of the ثاء. Word مثلث shows the final form connected of the ثاء and also the medial form of the ثاء. And word أثاث shows the final form isolated of the ثاء and also the initial form of the ثاء because the alif doesn't connect with after. So we use the initial form of the ثاء. The letter jeem. Word جبن shows the initial form of the jeem. Word masjid shows the medial form of the jeem. Word thalj shows the final form connected of the jeem. And word dajaj shows the final form isolated of the jeem and also the initial form of the jeem. We use the initial form because the dal doesn't connect with after. The letter ha. Word حصان shows the initial form of the ha. Word صحراء shows the medial form of the ha. Word ملح shows the final form connected of the ha. And word صباح shows the final form isolated of the ha. The letter kha. Word خبز shows the initial form of the kha. Word نخيل shows the medial form of the kha. Word مطبخ shows the final form connected of the kha. And word طباخ shows the final form isolated of the letter kha. The letter dal. Remember, the letter dal doesn't connect to the next letter. Word دجاج shows the initial form of the dal. Word madrasa shows the medial form of the dal. Word walad shows the final form connected of the dal. And word ward shows the final form isolated of the dal. If you go back and look at word dajaj, we use the initial form of the jeem because the dal doesn't connect with after. The same thing we did with word madrasa. We use the initial form or the isolated form of the ra because the dal doesn't connect with after. The letter dhal. Also, the letter dhal doesn't connect to the next letter. The word dhura shows the initial form of the dal. Word mudhi' shows the medial form of the dal. Word fakhd shows the final form connected of the dal. Word ustad shows the final form isolated of the dal. Again, remember we said the letter dal doesn't connect to the next letter. So if you look at word dura, word corn, you can see we use the initial form or the isolated form of the ra because the letter dal doesn't connect with after. And in words مذيع, the dal came in the middle, but we use the initial form of the ya because dal doesn't connect with after. The letter ra. The letter ra also doesn't connect to the next letter. Word ras shows the initial form of the ra. Word حرف shows the medial form of the ra. Word جسر shows the final form connected of the ra. And word sur shows the final form isolated of the ra. Same thing, the letter ra doesn't connect with after, so we use the initial form. If you come back and look at word ras, here we have the hamza, so we use the hamza on alif, so it wasn't connected. Also in word harf, you see we use the final form isolated of the fa because the ra doesn't connect. The letter zai. The letter zai doesn't connect to the next letter as well. Word zarafa shows the initial form of the zai. Word hizam shows the medial form of the zai. Word khobz shows the final form connected of the zai. And word mouse shows the final form isolated of the zai. If you look back at word zarafa, you see because we started with the zai, we had to use the initial form of the ra or the isolated form because the zai doesn't connect with after. The same thing with word hizam. We had to use the isolated form of the alif because the zai doesn't connect with after. The letter sheen. Word samaka shows the initial form of the sheen. Word asal shows the medial form of the sheen. Word khas shows the final form connected of the sheen. And word ananas shows the final form isolated of the letter sheen. The letter sheen. Word shams shows the initial form of the sheen. Word ashara shows the medial form of the sheen. Word ush shows the final form connected of the sheen. And word qirsh shows the final form isolated of the sheen. The letter saad. Word surah shows the initial form of the saad. Word misr shows the medial form of the saad. Word qafas shows the final form connected of the saad. And word ijas shows the final form isolated of the saad. The letter daad. Word daw shows the initial form of the daad. Word bayda shows the medial form of the daad. Word bayd shows the final form connected of the daad. And word ard shows the final form isolated of the letter daad. The letter ta. Word talib shows the initial form of the ta. Word matar shows the medial form of the ta. Word ha'it shows the final form connected of the ta. And word balat shows the final form isolated of the letter ta. The letter dha. Word ظفر, ظفر shows the initial form of the dhaa. Word محظوظ, محظوظ shows the medial form of the dhaa. Word حفظ, حفظ shows the final form connected of the dhaa. Word محظوظ, محظوظ shows the final form isolated of the dhaa and also the medial form of the dhaa. The letter عين, word عين, عين shows the initial form of the عين. Word معلم, معلم shows the medial form of the عين. Word جامع, جامع shows the final form connected of the عين. And word شارع, شارع shows the final isolated form of the عين. The letter ghayn. Word غسل, غسل shows the initial form of the ghayn. Word مغسلة, مغسلة shows the medial form of the ghayn. Word صمغ, صمغ shows the final form connected of the ghayn. And word فارغ, فارغ shows the final form isolated of the ghayn. The letter فاء. Word فراشة, فراشة shows the initial form of the فاء. Word فلفل, فلفل shows the medial form of the فاء and also the initial form of the فاء. Word ضيف, ضيف shows the final form connected of the فاء. And word خروف, خروف shows the final form isolated of the letter فاء. The letter قاف. Word قلب, قلب shows the initial form of the قاف. Word مقعد, مقعد shows the medial form of the قاف. Word إبريق, إبريق shows the final form connected of the قاف. And word فوق, فوق shows the final form isolated of the letter قاف. The letter كاف. Word كلب, كلب shows the initial form of the كاف. Word مكتب, مكتب shows the medial form of the كاف. Word سمك, سمك shows the final form connected of the كاف. And word أسماك, أسماك shows the final form isolated of the letter كاف. The letter لام. Word لوح, لوح shows the initial form of the لام. Word حليب, حليب shows the medial form of the لام. Word جمل, جمل shows the final form connected of the لام. And word برتقال, برتقال shows the final form isolated of the letter لام. The letter meem. Word mouse, mouse shows the initial form of the meem. Word جمل, جمل shows the medial form of the meem. Word مطعم, مطعم shows the final form connected of the meem and also the initial form of the letter meem. Word أمامة, أمامة shows the final form isolated of the letter meem and also the initial form because of the alif we use the initial form. The letter noon. Word نمر, نمر shows the initial form of the noon. Word bint, bint shows the medial form of the noon. Word جبن, جبن shows the final form connected of the noon. And word noon, noon shows the final form isolated of the noon and also the initial form of the letter noon. The letter ha. Word هدية. هدية shows the initial form of the letter ha. Word قهوة. قهوة shows the medial form of the letter ha. And these are different ways of writing the letter ha in the middle, depends on your handwriting or the type of font you are using if you are using the computer to type in Arabic. Word وجه. وجه shows the final form connected of the letter ha. And word مياه. مياه shows the final form isolated of the letter ha. The letter wow. Remember, wow also doesn't connect to the next letter. Word ولد. ولد shows the initial form of the wow. Word لوح. لوح shows the medial form of the wow. Word دلو. دلو shows the final form connected of the wow. And word جرو. جرو shows the final form isolated of the letter wow. If you go back to look at word ولد, you see how we use the initial form of the lam because the wow doesn't connect with after. With word لوح, we choose the isolated form of the ha because the wow doesn't connect with after. The letter ya. Word يد. يد shows the initial form of the ya. Word بيت. بيت shows the medial form of the ya. Word كرسي. كرسي shows the final form connected of the ya. Word وادي. وادي shows the final form isolated of the letter ya. The letter hamza. The initial form of the hamza always comes on alif. The pronoun أنا. أنا shows the initial form of the hamza. Word سأل. سأل shows the medial form of the hamza when the hamza comes on alif. Word بئر. بئر shows the medial form of the hamza when the hamza comes on chair or on ya. Word لؤلؤ. لؤلؤ shows the medial form of the hamza when the hamza comes on wow. There are three shapes for the medial hamza or the middle hamza. There is the hamza on alif, the hamza on ya, and the hamza on wow. There are also three shapes for the final form connected of the hamza. There is the connected hamza on alif, connected hamza on wow, and connected hamza on broken alif. Word ملجأ. ملجأ shows the hamza on alif. Word لؤلؤ. لؤلؤ shows the hamza as a final form connected on wow. Word شاطئ. شاطئ shows the hamza on broken alif in the final form connected. And there are four shapes of the hamza as a final form isolated. The hamza on alif, the hamza on wow, the hamza on the broken alif, and the isolated hamza or the original form of the hamza. Word قرأ. قرأ shows the hamza in the final form isolated on alif. Word يجرؤ. يجرؤ shows the hamza in the final form isolated on wow. Word قارئ. قارئ shows the hamza in the final form isolated on broken alif. Word ضوء. ضوء shows the isolated form of the hamza, the original form of the hamza.